Welcome to FitBody Lifestyle, the show where we dive deep into the world of fitness, health, business, relationships, and the art of living a balanced life. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Greg, and we're here to give you the benefit of our experiences in the fitness and bodybuilding industry, the corporate world, running a business, personal development, and building healthy relationships.
Whether you're sweating it out in the gym, hustling in your business, or seeking balance in your everyday life, you're in the right place.
So lace up those sneakers and grab that water bottle, and let's get ready to transform our minds, our bodies, and our lives.
Welcome to another episode of FitBody Lifestyle. We've got a good one for you today. We're going to be asking Alice Rocha all about herself today. Welcome, Alice. I'm here with, of course,
thank you,
Papa Bear.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Oh, we're so happy to have you. This worked out so perfect.
I'm excited.
Yeah, there's so many questions I have to ask you. So first of all, though, we would love to get a check-in word from you. How are you feeling today?
Grateful.
Love that one.
That word.
Yeah, grateful.
I'm grateful for you.
Thank you. I'm grateful for you
Wow,
too.
we're starting out with the love fest and the crying stuff. And,
We didn't cry yet.
well, I don't know. I'm kind of tearing up, so it's okay.
So will you introduce yourself for our listeners if they're not familiar?
I'm Alice Rocha, IFBB Bikini Pro and now Olympian. I work in construction and I bodybuild. That's what I do.
I love that. I mean, you've had quite the journey. So I'm so excited to kind of take people through your journey in the bodybuilding world. And I think there's a lot of great lessons that have been learned, right?
Yes.
And you are learning.
I am still learning. I'm a sponge. I like to say I'm a sponge. Yeah.
Well, and that's the cool thing I do feel like about the bodybuilding. You get to know your body in different sorts of ways. You get to know the industry in different sorts of ways. And it's like that constant like learning and improving.
And there are different phases too, because if you've been with more than one coach, you learn your body in more ways than just one. There's different processes, different feelings that affects your body. Your chapters in life, where you're at in your personal life, everything changes. So it's just too many variables. They're always, hold on, I'm sorry.
No.
Hey, this is stream of consciousness thinking, and we really want this to be a conversation, as we talked about. So
yeah,
just let it fly,
yeah.
man. If the thoughts come out, just go with it, and we'll chase it down, or we'll redirect it back, or both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of variables, so I think that it's just constant growth every day. No day is the same, even if you're doing the same things.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what inspired you to
Do
start?
you want to get there first, or
I knew you were going to roll me back.
Sorry,
Roll me back, babe. Roll
sorry.
me back. This is what we do. I start down the path, then he draws me back, but he always gets to good stuff. So we'll let him do his thing.
I don't know about always, but I think, for people to understand your bodybuilding career, let's understand a little bit about you. So where were you born? Let's start with that easy part.
Where were
you born?
I was born in Florida.
Okay.
I was born in Florida. I have two Brazilian parents who moved to Florida about a year before they had me. It was the very immigrant kid lifestyle. Still go back and see my family. All my family lives in Brazil, so I try to see them at least once a year, hopefully twice. It's a little tricky now that, as a pro you compete longer in the season. Our seasons get longer. So I do have to, dedicate more time to that. But on the bright side, I find time in the off season to really go spend some good time with them. So
that's good.
Which I just did that. Yeah, I just got back from Brazil. I spent 3.5 weeks with my family. I saw both my grandmothers, all my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. It was amazing.
But you grew up all in Florida.
Grew up in Florida.
You've always lived in Florida, right?
Always lived in Florida. The only time I left was with the military. Did a deployment overseas, and then just different states, different bases. So.
And I think we talked about this. You and I talked about it. That is Guantanamo, right?
Yes. Yeah. Gitmo.
Cuba.
Yeah. I'm glad it wasn't the sandbox that you were in, but it still had its challenges. deploying is deploying. If you've served, you know.
And you were a military police.
Yep.
So, right?
MP 31 Bravo.
And thank you for your service. And,
Thank you.
And that is something that I think is really one of the many facets of you that's so interesting. There's a pretty big Brazilian community in Florida, though, isn't there?
Huge. There's so many Brazilians in Florida. In Orlando, where we're going this weekend, there's a lot of Brazilians in Orlando, Sarasota, where I live. And the other big one is Massachusetts.
Really?
Don't know why, but there's a lot of
That's
in
interesting.
Massachusetts.
I wouldn't have ever
too.
guessed that. That's so interesting.
New England and Florida. It's the two ends that get the most Brazilians. Yeah.
Do you have Brazilian family besides your mom and dad in Florida with you, or?
Now I do.
Your brother?
My brother, a couple of cousins that moved. My cousin Victoria, she's my best friend. She moved there in 2017, but before 2017, it was just me, my mom, and my dad. So it was a lot of flying back home to see everybody. Not too much family, but I'm glad that bodybuilding has allowed me to, make new sisters and brothers, and just it has opened my family up a lot.
I
for
love
sure.
that.
I think we can
and
even-
you guys, yeah.
Thank you. And I think we can tease that a little bit when we talk a little bit more about the competition part of your life. That after the Olympia this year, your first Olympia, you went to Brazil right after to compete in the Brazil Pro.
Yeah, that was actually my dream, to compete in Brazil and have my family see me. Only my mom ended up coming. She took I think it was like a 7-hour bus trip from Rio to São Paulo with my uncle, and they got to see me. And I hope that was not the first time. I'm sure I'll be competing there again soon, but it was amazing to just experience bodybuilding in a different country, and like your country where my culture's from. So,
and you did amazing at that show
I
too.
did great,
So that was great.
Despite quite a challenge.
Yeah.
You got. I know we're jumping all over the map, which I don't like to do, but I don't mind.
He reminds me, but then he jumps ahead. So this is our dynamic.
So we will talk a little bit more about that then.
Okay.
When we get to that point.
You
But
can ask her.
so let's go with high school and college after high school in
No,
Florida?
Army, just
Okay,
straight to Army.
Straight to Army
Yeah.
after. Okay. What prompted you to join the military, by the way? I don't know I've ever
It's
asked
the
you that.
same thing that happened in bodybuilding. Kind of just, I think this sounds like a good idea. Let me do it. I'm very, it's not impulsive because I think a lot. I'm an overthinker, so there is thought into it, but I'm not scared to do new things.
Yeah.
In the Army, the recruiters come to school, they talk, and they make it sound like you're going to be freaking playing football and swimming with your friends all day. It was not like they said.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, like free college, which I ended up not using because I started a business. But yeah, it was I just did it. I just went for it. After the recruiters came in, I thought about it for like a month and signed up. I didn't really know what to do after high school. So
Did you get lessons from that experience that you are taking or have taken forward with you today?
yes, I'm so grateful. As much as I got there and cried the first 6 months in basic training, like, what am I doing? I am so grateful that I joined. It honestly has. I don't think I would have done as well in bodybuilding if it wasn't for the Army. I think that set myself up for my first year, going in with the discipline that I did and winning the shows and then winning the pro card. Everything happened quickly, but there was so much grit behind that I had to learn through the military, because it forces you to. A lot of people haven't been put in those uncomfortable situations, especially at very young age, because I started competing at 23. So that was the only really tough thing that I had experienced in life at that age.
That makes total sense that helped. I mean, you realized what you were made of and that you could do really hard things, so that when you started competing and things got hard, you could lean back on
Yes, I think if you've gone through basic training and the stress of that, you can pretty much do anything.
So it wasn't hanging out at the pool and playing football.
Yeah, no. It was tough. It was tough shit, but hey, I'm glad I did it for sure.
That's awesome.
And as a military police soldier, I don't know, did you have to do the taser exercise?
I didn't do taser,
Okay.
but we did the OC spray.
Okay.
And that was really a horrible feeling. We used the strongest form of OC spray.
So OC
and
is
OC is just pepper. Sorry, it's like pepper spray. Yeah. Do you know
It's
the
the
word
military
for
version.
it?
I don't remember. OC stands for something of the chemical compound. I don't.
but it's
something,
basically it's the pepper spray.
They
then.
spray it across your eyebrow, right across the eyebrow,
Oh.
and then you have to do 3 takedowns right after that. So with it squirting, like dripping down your eyes, you have to go take down the first person, go arrest the second person, take it down, and then finally arrest the third. And then everybody, like, it was pretty crazy because everybody had like Tide pods, laundry pods in their pockets. And as soon as we were done off the obstacle course, we just stick our hands in our pockets, grab the Tide pods, and put them right in our face, right in the eyes. It felt better than the OC spray to have laundry detergent in your
How
eyes.
strange.
It's strong stuff. Like anything is soothing after that. So anyway, that was the story.
And
about
it's
getting OC spray.
oleoresin capsaicin, which is what OC actually stands for. So capsaicin is the active ingredient in pepper, in the
Cayenne pepper.
cayenne pepper. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, but it's I found, I don't know. I mean, I've never sampled the civilian version of it, but the military version was not fun. Yeah.
Not fun at
Not
all.
fun. And then plus in
You'll
your
pass on doing that
in
again.
your
Yeah,
version,
no.
the hardest part, and I think that one of the cool thing, it's a cool thing, but it's hard. It's not just, I mean, first of all, tremendous discipline to just stand there and let somebody spray this stuff in your face.
Yeah, I don't think you have a choice though.
No, you don't. Well, you always
Wasn't
have
optional.
You always have a choice, but there are consequences
Yes,
with every
that's
choice
true.
that you make.
That's true.
And so if you say no, then there's going to be consequences, and sometimes those consequences are worse than the
OC spray.
the
Yeah,
OC
I'll take
spray.
that.
But it's not just that you're sprayed, and when you do this and you realize how much you rely on your sight to help navigate, just
even hear.
to balance, everything. And when you get sprayed in the face, and then you have to do the takedowns and the other activities, I mean, it's like doing things with both arms and both legs tied behind your back, because it's just your limbs become heavy, every movement becomes strained. I don't think it's just not something that's fun, but
No,
it does
and
show
so
you what
many
you're capable of.
Nerves in your eyes too. It's so
Yep.
sensitive. Yeah. Anyway, we felt that for quite some time, a couple days after, because it crystallizes in your eyes. So later you can you can wash it out and take the chunks of the OC out of your eye, but it gets in there. Anyway, let's change the subject.
Awful. That sounds
this is-
awful.
Alice,
Now I know why you're so tough.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people just don't recognize, and I'm not saying, hey, you need to go in the military to get tough. You don't, okay?
No.
But I do.
Yes,
but
no.
I do think that the Army, one of the things that I experienced is that it basically is the military in general is about being uncomfortable, because I dare say there were very few moments when I was comfortable. Almost everything was discomfort in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and when you are comfortable, you're kind of like, okay, what's
When's it
about
gonna
to happen? Like, what's coming?
When's the shoe going to drop? Yeah.
Kind of like prep.
Yeah, I was just about to say that happens in prep. When I was skeptical all season with you this season, like everything was going smooth, and I'm like, okay, well when is she gonna like bump my cardio up an hour and have me dying?
You're all hurt.
Didn't happen, by the way, at all.
That is a good question. It's a little bit out of order, but I do think I want to ask that question: is what do you find more preferable? An easy prep that has a spike in it at some point, or the prep where you have to struggle kind of more consistently throughout?
Ooh, I've had both. The one where you struggle with consistently throughout, I think you're so high on cortisol and running on just fumes that it makes time go by faster. I found that. And then the easy prep, obviously it's more enjoyable physically, but it's the mental. You have more time and less distractions to sit with your thoughts, which they're both just as hard. I mean, you know what I mean? Physically tough and mentally tough. They're equally the same. It's tough. Yeah. But they're both necessary, I think. Obviously not a prep where you're, given your last breath. I've been there, and please run. But I think the mental part where you're just stuck in your head, if you have the people around you to talk to and not stay stuck in your head, having all those thoughts, it helps you a lot on show day because you've already gone through it. I think a lot of times when I was running on fumes and I was just so stressed about getting everything done, you get to show day with a little bit more anxiety because you haven't had that much time to sit there and like just let all those thoughts just really sleep with you, wake up with you, because everybody's in their head during prep. That's what we do. But yeah, now that I've had a prep where it was slow, it was just me and all the long conversations I had with the people around me, like Greg, he's always talking to me. I have to call you like once every couple of weeks or so to have that little uncomfortable convo.
But that is part of coaching, right?
Yeah.
That's part of building that relationship.
Yes.
And that trust is like knowing that we can have those conversations when it's hard and when you get in your head, because that's a natural thing.
And I'm so grateful for that because I see the people who don't have it and it hurts to see. So thank you, because we do have the same feeling. And you being a coach, you've been through everything that we've been through. So it's just having that person from the outside look in and help you move forward. But yeah, anyway, I forgot what I was saying before that.
Yeah, so we kind of got off on you were walking us through.
Yeah, we were going through time.
So we went through the military part of the timeline, and then can I go to mine?
Yeah, go.
Okay. So then, gotta check with them, make sure I didn't say anything.
Hardly.
No. So when you got out of the military, is that when you started thinking about competing, or how did that come about?
When I got out of the military, okay, well, we can get a little sensitive. I used to not eat due to stress. I would, in the military, honestly, deploying worsened that a lot. So I was always in and out the hospital, stressing my parents out, my family, because I would just be sad or depressed and not eat. And it would sometimes be 3-4 days, no food in my stomach at all, nothing. I would drink some water or Gatorade, eat a couple strawberries, go back to sleep, hide in my room, I was going through a very depressing time in my life. And I lose appetite. That's just how my nervous system works. As soon as I get upset, my appetite is gone. So, in that happening, in the Army, people would ask me to come to the gym and lift with them. And I was like, no, I don't do stuff I don't go to the gym. I'm okay. And then when I got out of the military, my brother started working out. He's 4 years younger than me. So 3.5. So he's 24 right now. At the time he was 18, 19. And I was watching him work out. And one day I got really sick in December from not eating again. I went to the hospital and I said, dude, this is the last time I'm doing this. I have to do something. So I started looking into different nutrition plans. I tried to go vegan for 2 months. That didn't work. I just started finding foods that I like.
Considering what you like to eat, vegan is not really aligned with that so much.
No, I eat steak every day. So I started finding foods that I like to eat. And finally my brother, I was watching him go to the gym. I'm like, you know what? Let me go to the gym with you. And once I started going to the gym with him, I started getting hungrier to where I wanted to eat and I wanted food. And I'm like, damn, I've never felt like wanting to sit and eat a big plate before. It was a good feeling. So I started going to the gym with him, started eating well. I started growing. I'd always obviously been really skinny. So like my goal was to be super big legs and thick. And I was like, let me do wellness. I found like an Instagram account. Actually, I think it's Crystal Hayes. I think her name is. She's a wellness. I think that's her last name. She's a wellness competitor. I found her account. And she had been competing in wellness in Brazil. I was like, damn, I want to look like that. Like, I really want to look like this girl. And there was a bodybuilding coach at the gym that I was working out at, Matt Blauen. And I started training with him. And he was even like, you know what? You'd be really good to do a show. And he's like, I don't know, though. It's going to be super hard. And he would always be like, it's going to be really hard. And I'm like, I don't care, dude. I can do it. Like, I can do it. So I tried to do a diet for 2 weeks straight. And it was a really basic, like, bodybuilding diet, like rice, tilapia, cucumbers, like and I was like, wait, I just did this. I weighed out everything for 2 weeks straight. No flaws. I'm like, I think I can do the prep. So that was September. In January, we started prep. January 2022, we started prep, and I ended up competing for the first time April 9th, and I did wellness, actually. I prepped for wellness. I wanted to look like that. Everybody told me I had no business doing wellness, and I needed to do bikini, and I was like, you're doubting me, whatever. I had no idea about the bodybuilding categories, but everybody doubted the wellness thing. It made me want to train really hard and grow. So I think that
probably helped you.
It helped me, like, really.
You're one of those who tell you can't do something and that makes you want to do something?
Oh, that's the best drug. That's the best thing to have. Yeah.
Oh, God. No, I just made a mental note.
Uh-oh.
Be a little tougher.
I'm like, Alice, I don't think you can do every week in your check-in. I don't think you can hit these macros at all this week.
Maybe I need that. Anyway, so yeah, I prepped for wellness. I went to do the Mel Chansey show, and the judges were like, what are you doing in wellness? If you would have just came in here to do bikini, you would have won the overall. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just do bikini next weekend. So I went back, learned all the bikini poses, because, in wellness, you have to sit into the hip a little too much and learn how to stand a little bit more balanced. And did a show that next weekend and got overall there. And then my judge feedback, I asked them, you think I'm ready for nationals? They're like, they always tell you yes. Well, I don't think I'm allowed to say that in here.
No, they don't. They actually don't always tell you yes, believe it or not. I've actually had them tell people, no,
okay,
you need a little more growth or whatever. But in your case, you were ready.
Yeah,
so,
I was ready.
Yeah.
So I went and I did nationals and won the overall at nationals, and prep.
So I think they were telling you the truth when they said you were ready.
Yeah,
I mean, not many people go into their first national show and win the overall.
Yeah, that's true.
Which was Junior USA's.
And that was a really interesting 4 weeks. It was 4 weeks in between my bikini overall and winning the pro card. I was so sure that they were giving out 4 bikini pro cards, and one of them was mine in my head every day when I was in the gym. My last 60 seconds on the Stairmaster, because I did Stairmaster for cardio, I said pro card each step. I would go pro card, pro card, pro card, and just continue to say it. And I would always tell people, like, no, I really believe, like, one of the 4 is mine. One of them is mine. And I know that I've done this with other shows too, and it depends on how you use that certainty, because if it doesn't happen, you got to have the mind power to calm down those thoughts, of disappointment. But it's so hard, because it's hard to find the equal balance of, I can really do this, and I'm manifesting that it will happen, and it's okay if it doesn't.
Interested in changing your life or stepping on stage? Join FitBody Fusion today.
Experience the FitBody Fusion difference with tools, knowledge, and community support to reach your healthy and sustainable lifestyle.
We guide thousands on their fitness journeys, from seasoned athletes to those who are simply seeking a healthier life.
Our expert coaches provide personalized plans and unwavering support, empowering you to thrive.
FitBody Fusion is more than just training. It's a community. We understand the challenges of solo fitness journeys, which is why we foster a supportive environment where members encourage and motivate each other.
Join the FitBody Fusion community today and unlock your full potential.
Head to fitbodyfusion.com to sign up for a free consultation.
And do it today. Well, and the truth of that is that it's not certainty, because you're not certain that you're going to win, in truth, right?
Okay.
But it's belief.
Yeah.
And I think I've shared this before, of the raise your bar, BAAR. Belief drives your attitude. Your attitude produces your belief drives your attitude drives your actions, then your actions produce those results. Mm-hmm. And as that BAAR. But when you think about things that are driven by belief, I mean, in the most worst expression of that, maybe I would say that the wars, the religious motivated wars, were all motivated by belief. How many thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people were killed because of, and are being killed now because of belief. Yeah. Belief is a crazy motivator. It is different than confidence. It is, I actually believe that. And in that sense, yeah, I guess there is a certainty around that. But I do think you're onto the right track, which is, I can believe, and we deal with this with every competitor to a certain degree, is, some people go in and they know they're going to win. And as a coach, I mean, I love that you believe that, and I don't ever want to take that away from you. And we have to acknowledge the fact that we don't control that outcome.
Yeah.
We control what you're going to put on stage, but we can't control what other athletes are going to be there, how they're going to look, how the judges are going to approach it. And so I love that you're talking about this, Alice, because if I could deposit in every athlete that belief, that certainty of belief, and that resiliency to deal with if it doesn't happen, because the belief can be, I'm going to win this show, and it's going to be, I'm going to win the show. The show may not be the next show; it might be the show after that, or the show after that. But it's that confidence in the belief that you have that drives your attitude. Attitude drives actions. Actions produce results. It all starts with with a belief.
Yes, I like that too, because it took me 3 years of competing, 3 seasons to qualify. And even though, and I didn't know when it was going to happen, but I just knew
3
that
seasons qualify for the Olympia, right?
For the Olympia,
okay,
yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't know when it was going to happen, but I knew it was going to happen. I would tell myself, I would look in the mirror and say, you're a future Olympian. Like, I can't believe it. Or like, I always looked at my boyfriend in the gym like, oh, they don't even know they're standing next to a future Olympian. Like,
I love that. I love that.
They don't even know who's in their presence.
You're so cute.
Even before the qualification. But yeah, believing, that's a good one.
I want to say something, by the way, just to explain it, because we know you so well, is that you're not saying that out of cockiness or arrogance of they don't even know who they're standing next to. It's not that. It's just your way of expressing your belief in yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not, because I've been around you and you're one of the most humble people that I've been around. So like the reason I'm qualifying this is I don't want people listening to this saying,
I know. People
wow,
are like,
she's super cocky and like arrogant. It's like, no, you don't understand that. It's a playfulness around that, but the humility that we have seen demonstrated in you, honestly, it's one of your many beautiful characteristics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And it can also be a curse too, because sometimes I humble myself a little too much. Yeah.
And you gotta get that fire. Yeah. So I love that you talked about the challenges between the fire of believing in yourself and driving forward. And then later on, because you didn't really experience much failure at the amateur level.
At the amateur level at all.
So
any failure.
Right. So then what is that like then hitting the pro stage and then all of a sudden things aren't exactly the way.
Yeah, that's crazy. It happens. I think I was one of those people, and I know I'm not the only one, where everything happens so quick. You have that genetically gifted, perfect body right there with perfect concoction of all the training, the diet plan, everything that you've done. And, your first prep, you get your overall, you get your pro card. This is happening a lot in bikini, and they have no idea. We have no idea what it's like in the pro bikini world, because it is far more deep and so much more details. And those are things that most girls who compete for years, that's why I say to girls, if it's taking you years to get your pro card, don't compare yourself to me, because I would have took it either way. This is just how it happened for me, because now I'm having to learn in my pro career all these little tiny things that most amateurs have down, because they've been doing this shit. Sorry, not this shit, bodybuilding, for 2-3 years. And
some longer.
Yeah, some longer. So, and me here, little old me, 6 months in, I'm pro. Now I'm like, oh, what is this? What is all this stuff? I didn't know how a pro show ran. I didn't know any like suits, makeup, tan. I remember back before I even got coached by you, I was asking you tan questions backstage, because I just had no idea all these little things. So if it's taking you longer, we're all on the same journey. It's all just a label, but at the end of the day, we're doing the same exact thing. I'm still learning the same as an amateur. An amateur could know more than me as a pro Olympian. So yeah, that was hard to just jump in there and not really know anything about the pro league or bodybuilding at all, really.
Right.
I remember getting to my first show. I didn't even know what a class was, or what true novice or any of this stuff was at all. None of these terms, flat, what is it? Flat, watery. I didn't know what those full. I didn't know what those terms even were, because I had just got into this. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love that you brought this up and that we've talked about this, because I do think a lot of times people are in such a hurry. And so taking the time to make the mistakes, to figure things out, it's harder when you're at the next level, because you have more people that have been in the sport for longer and already have learned so many lessons, and you're coming in as that brand new, bright-eyed, athlete that you're still learning some of the basics. So, I love that you brought that up. And, one of the things Greg says to people, if you get your pro card, what are you going to do? Compete. If you don't get your pro card, what are you going to do? Compete. So like at the end of the day, if you love competing, that's really what it's about.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's all about your passion. It's going to happen, but if you're passionate about it, you're doing the same thing that we're all doing, and you just have to learn how to enjoy.
And the more time you can spend in the NPC and perfect your craft, it just makes you a better pro. And so I think a lot of athletes look at that as a setback if they don't get their pro card in a national show. And it's like, no, you got to perfect your craft this time, and now you're going to apply that going forward. And if you don't get it the next time, then you just keep perfecting your craft. Keep perfecting your craft and just keep working on that part. It's like, the analogy I think with the pro card is that the pro card becomes that thing that you want, and you know why you want it, but you don't know what it means once you get it. You know what you see, how you see pros like you showing up and doing this and doing that, but until you actually got that pro card and then you see the different world that you now join in, it's like a dog that chases a car, and if the dog caught the car, it wouldn't know what to do with it. But it still keeps chasing the car.
Yes.
And I think that point that you raised there is just so really interesting, and something that I think can carry forward with a lot of other people.
Yeah, because you get the pro card, and we're on a high for like two maybe a week, 2 weeks after that. And then you're like, oh, wait, well, now what do I do? Okay, back to growing. And then I got to compete again. And it's the same thing.
Well, yeah, but the competing is a little different though at the pro stage, right? Because you're not in a height class. You're there with everybody on stage.
Yes.
Everybody is wired tight. And so the difference from 1 to 50 or whatever, however many athletes are in there, you were on the Olympia stage, and the difference between the first and the last, it's almost incorrect to call the last person last, because those athletes are at such a high level. The difference between those physiques is so minor, and I think that's the hardest thing to get through in your pro mind is that I'm going to be on stage with a bunch of overall winners. I'm going to be on stage with a bunch of people that are just like me.
Getting to that stage is such an incredibly huge accomplishment. And we'll talk a little bit about your first Olympia and all of that kind of stuff. But I want to kind of stay in this for a little bit, some of the lessons that you feel like you learned as a pro. Like, what are some of the things that you feel like maybe feedback that you got, or things that that you tried that maybe didn't work out as well or worked out really well? What are some of the little tidbits that you learned once you got to the pro stage?
I think, and it still has to do with what we were talking about, not wanting things too fast. I think even now with the Arnold, not submitting my application this time around, I was kind of like, you know what? It's just, I'm still so new. It's still so fresh. Let me just continue to grow a little bit more, and that will be there. And that's something that I'm proud of myself for coming to terms with. Just because, we all want it now. You want a pro card now. You want to get to the Olympian now. Like you're always trying to get to that next step. And, every pro, I think bikini pro would like to step on Arnold's stage one day. So that was one thing that I was like, I want that. But I came to terms with, what? Maybe I need to grow in and outside a little bit more as an athlete before I get to that next step. So just being okay timeline wise, and which goes back to competing, and not for people who are trying to get their pro cards. It's okay if it doesn't happen right away. Another thing I think is that
can I just add one thing? It may not be okay that it doesn't happen right away. It may actually be preferred.
Yeah.
Right?
Preferred, and it's what happened. I really believe in just everything happens for a reason. So if that's how it happened your way, it's the way that it had to happen for you to get even better things out of it, or out of life, in your timeline. Everybody's timeline's different. I think another thing that I learned with you, Jamie, is more is not always the best. Less is more sometimes. I was always telling you, like, okay, when are we going to crank up the intensity? Because I was so used to just really
going to extremes, right?
Going to extremes physically, and that can drag you down mentally. And that's something that I always, went into prep, like before prepping with you, like, all right, like, let me buckle down. I'm about to go through the worst 4 months of my life, but here we go. I got this. As to where now I found that we can do things slower. We can do things more strategically. And it still allowed me to, like, now have Alice, still be Alice, still have my own personal life with prep, which is something I'm so, so grateful for, seriously.
I love that too, because that gives you longevity in the sport, which is something that's always in my mind, especially, when I'm working with an athlete like you, that's just a very talented athlete. I see sometimes people have this talent and then they run themselves into the ground, and then it shortens their competition career. Whereas, like, our goal is to be able to have you're still young. Like, you have a lot of years in you. You have a lot of opportunities to continue to grow in the sport. You're just, like, literally still getting started. So if we take good care of you now and have balance both physically and mentally and emotionally, then you can continue to go and thrive and love competing.
Yes. Because you don't lose all of you. I didn't do this prep this last year. I did not lose me, which is something I'm I'm really proud of and grateful to have you guys to help me with that. But you said something that I wanted to remember. What were you saying?
The thought train went in the tunnel and it didn't come out.
You said something there.
Yeah, I just the longevity in the sport and being able to.
Okay, yeah. So when I first started and I went through extreme preps, I would say to myself, like, there's no way I can do this for like more than 3 years. Like, there's no way. I can't. It was just too treacherous, really, just hard. And I did not want to speak to anybody because you're in a low spot. So you push everyone out. You don't have energy to talk to people. You don't even want people texting your phone. You're like, oh, I feel like shit. Oh, I got to go do hours of cardio. You know what I mean? So now that we've found a way to just do things more healthy, it's been nice to still have me and still have time for me. And not lose myself entirely and get depressed. You know what I mean? This was the first year where I continued to hang out with friends and see family weekly. And it was a really good year. And I'm glad that we did this. And I was able to learn that it's possible because now, like you said, longevity, I can see myself doing this way longer than when I first started, competing.
Which is good because you're young and you got a long runway.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want it.
Well, it's funny because I just love our memory of our first show together. It was such an incredible week we got to spend together, and I was just cracking up every time I would check you because you were always. Are you going to cut my food? Are you going to cut my water? Are you going to make me do more cardio? Like it was like you just.
I'm
and
like,
I was
wait,
like,
I can drink water.
And I'd say, no, eat some more, drink some more water, eat some more, drink some more water, go relax, prop your feet up, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think people get so close to show they feel like they have to do so much, and it's like sometimes just doing the same thing works. Yeah.
Well, if you're ready, you're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my drill instructors used to say, you don't need to train to suffer. And why suffer if you don't have to? So I do think there's a mindset in some athletes where they think it's got to be hard, it's got to be a struggle, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. And it's like, you're telling yourself that story, and I don't know why you would tell yourself that. It just needs to be whatever it is, because every prep is going to be a little bit different. You've had hard preps, you've had easy preps, and the preps from here forward are going to be the same way. There's going to be some that are going to be hard. There's going to be some that are going to be easy. It just depends on how your body responds during that time frame. And so, but don't make something hard just to make it hard to say. It's almost like, I liken it to this of people who are going through their diet and they have an addiction to peanut butter, and they will keep peanut butter in their house.
Stop talking about me.
They'll keep a big vat of peanut butter in their house because they say, you know what, I can resist it. I'm better than it. I'm going to show how hard I am, how disciplined I am. I'm not going to have that peanut butter. And what usually happens? They get that weak moment, and the peanut butter's gone the next day. And it's just, I don't understand that mindset of making it hard just to be hard.
Me either. And I thought
it's very isolating too.
It's very isolating.
And it's still hard. So let's be clear. Like,
it's
prepping
still hard.
It's still hard.
It's not like, it's still hard. It's just, if you just feel like crap every single day and it's only getting worse and worse, there's a threshold. Like, it's not supposed to be that way. But I thought the worse that I looked, the worse that I felt, like, oh, it's gonna pay off even more. Like, no, that has nothing to do with what happens.
You're right.
Right, which you got to experience because that was your Olympia qualification. Was that first show we did together? Where it was just eat some more, and energy was like I've never felt this energy before at a show, and getting to go up there and feel good.
Feel good, yes, because I've had shows where I've cut water for 24 hours. So it's like, I didn't even want to talk on show day. You feel like you don't feel good without water is what we are made of. So if you're not replenishing yourself, you don't feel good. And there's been times where I'm so dehydrated or just so hungry on show day where you don't really, you don't experience show day the same way. Because you're not, your body is just not, the chemicals are not going to be happy. They're not being treated the right way. So yeah, it was very different this time around. It was very weird to eat. And it also helped me post show too, because we ate, I kept myself fed. We kept it healthy, and it didn't make me want to eat the world after my show, which is the first time that's happened to me. So,
right. So then it made the reversing part of it easier. Although, I mean, we did keep competing, and then, but I do kind of want to jump into like the Olympia.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Well,
I know, but I want to hit on this. I know we're over time, but I mean, the difference in how you felt mentally, like the pressure that you put on yourself, because I remember you starting to like really put that pressure on yourself. So I just kind of want to like talk a little bit about what that felt like. And then after doing the Olympia, like what it felt like and kind of what lessons that you've taken out of that.
Okay. Pressure mentally. I think that, gosh, the person that I was before I qualified and the person that I was stepping on the Olympia stage was very different. I really wanted to qualify, obviously, but it was just something that I just thought about the win every second of the day. And versus for the Olympia, and I think it might have been because it was my first Olympia, but I hope to it's a goal of mine to keep the same mindset moving forward, was just go in and have fun. You know what I mean? Just bring your best, be the best version of you, and just have fun, because it was such a fun show. It was the best thing ever.
It's the biggest show on,
as a competitor, it's the best thing ever. From Wednesday when you get there to all the way till Saturday. It's just an amazing week, amazing production. But yeah, it was a big difference in pressure. I was more positive for the Olympia, I think. And I let a lot of the negative thoughts overcome me before my qualification. Well, not overcome, but they definitely poked at me.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't overcome, but they poked at me. Yeah.
Well, and I feel like that attitude, you brought that to stage, and that was what made such a difference. And our feedback from the judges was so positive that they saw huge improvements over the season for you. And I do think a lot of it was the mindset you brought in. You went out there, I mean, you looked amazing. And you went out there and had fun. Like it was fun watching you, know, because you were having fun.
It was the best I've ever felt on stage. It was at the Olympia because, I don't know. I just went on stage and I was like, you know what? Show them what you got. Like, just show them what you got and go up there and smile. And I remember Patriots. I messed up my routine. Like I think morning show and night show. I was so nervous. You know, those little trips and stumbles, when that didn't happen at the Olympia because I was just carefree, but in the best way. You know, you're never 100% carefree, but carefree of like, just placing, I think too. I think that was a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that feeling is something I want to carry forward with this season as well, because nothing's guaranteed, you know?
Jamie always talks about falling in love with the process.
Yeah.
And when you can fall in love with the process, you're not focused on the placing, you're focused on the process. And I do think, you know, when you're competing in the qualifying shows, man, there's so much pressure to want to win, and some self-imposed, some external, some, you know, all this pressure to win. And when you get to the Olympia, you have to adjust your aperture a little bit, because and if you take that forward, the aperture changes simply because, look, there's 44 of the 50,
it's almost 50.
Yeah,
I think
50,
it was 53.
53
year, yeah.
of the very best in the world on this stage. And winning in a bikini show is different than winning in a foot race, or winning in a a bench press competition is different. And when you can go and let go, it's almost like trying to force the round peg in the square hole when you're focused so much on winning. And then when you let go and you're saying, I don't care what hole this goes in, I'm just going to focus on playing the game and doing the performance. And when you can do that, you've reached that next level. So I am really anxious to see you carry that attitude forward this year, especially into the individual shows, because when you carry that Olympia attitude with you on stage, I don't think there's any stopping you.
Yeah. Even at Tampa Pro this year, I psyched myself out, and it was the worst I felt. It was just my own head. I was just so worried about being perfect that day. I don't know what it was about that show that day. I've always wanted to do it. Maybe that's why it was like a hometown show. So I was so worried about just being perfect that I had the worst time, and I was worried about my placing. I wanted to get into the top 5. Thankfully I did, but I was so focused on that and not just like, dude, we get 40 seconds, 45 seconds to be on stage. At least just enjoy yourself. Yeah. Like, feel beautiful. Like, it's the best you've looked in 4 freaking months. You finally get your makeup done. You finally get the hair, the suit on. Like, that's what I want to focus on moving forward, because I believe, like we were talking about before, that I will qualify again. When it happens, that's just, I don't know. That's out of my control, but I will maintain my belief. So I'm just going to have fun.
Well, we believe that too. And honestly, that's like a mic drop. I love what you said there. And tell people how to contact you, Alice, if they want to contact you or reach out to you.
If they want to contact me on Instagram's the best way. At Alice Rocha, Rocha. I have 4 underscores. That's it. It's very simple. But yeah, Instagram DMs.
You're an overachiever with those underscores.
I know, too many.
Jamie likes exclamation points, so you like underscores. It's all good. It's all good.
And I will usually always answer, and I'll talk to you like a regular person, because I'm a regular person. So yeah,
I love that about
you. I'm here.
Yeah.
And tune in to our second episode with you, because we're going to dive into another part of your life that people may not know about, which is your career. So if you've listened to this episode, we talked a little bit about competing. We'll talk a little bit about competing in the next one too, but we're really going to focus on this career thing, because you have an entrepreneurial career. You are very successful, and the balance and management of that is a lot.
It is. Yeah. It's a lot to unpack.
So don't unpack it.
So we'll dive into that.
Yeah,
we'll dive into it in another episode for sure.
All right. So everybody, remember to like, comment, subscribe, leave your reviews, and remember the 3 B's.
Be good to yourself.
Be good to each other, and be safe. You were a little bit quick on the draw there, but that's okay. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to FitBody Lifestyle. We hope today's episode has left you feeling motivated and equipped to tackle your fitness goals, business challenges, and the daily dance of life. Remember to value progress over perfection. Life's tough enough alone. Find the chosen family around you to help you along the way.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite streaming platform. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at FitBody Fusion.